3.
Hello, and thanks for joining us. This is Tuesday, August the 31st. This is going to be the last that we're doing for August, and also the last night that we're going to be doing for this week. We'll be back Monday the 6th. So I'll explain to you a little bit more in a few minutes. I'm going to do some readings and then I'll spend some time talking to you. So pretend that this is the book cover for book number 8, which is the book that I'm going to be reading from. Book 8 has not been published yet. It's still in draft form. AC and I have to edit it. We've got to take it to the beta readers. They've got to make third suggestions and all that kind of stuff. Then we have to talk about the cover art, all that kind of stuff. But meanwhile, we have the draft. And so I thought I'd, and like I did last night, I thought I'd read a couple of pieces. So the story is, there's 2 romances going on in the story. One's about Ginny and Lachlan. And Ginny is Francis's oldest sister, and Lachlan is Torquil's cousin. And then the second romance is Carl, Rowan's cousin, who's the realtor, and Maisie, Torquil's wayward sister. So the first piece is about Ginny coming home the first night that she meets Lachlan. Ginny parked her car in the garage, then slipped into the house. She sighed, kicking off her new pumps that weren't broken in yet and still pinched her toes. She deposited the keys in her purse and hung her purse on the kitchen hook next to the fridge. Straying automatically to the fridge, she opened the door, standing in front of it. Daring herself, she leaned her body into the interior as far as she could. The coolness of the fridge immediately turned down her body temperature. Then her nose twitched. Something reeked of mold and sour milk. When she was cooking with Rick in mind, rarely had there been any leftovers. He ate like a teenager. Hamburgers, hot dogs, canned beans. He hated vegetables and salad. She laughed at herself for that train of thought. No, Rick ate what he wanted. Her own teenagers loved salad and fresh foods. Her body temperature forgotten, she distracted herself and found the offending smell. It was a weeks-old baked cauliflower and a garlicky roux. Since their divorce, Ginny cooked everything she loved that she had never served before, like baked cauliflower, eggplant parmesan, fish, lamb, and lots of salads. She and Jenny loved the new food coming from their kitchen. She tossed the offending cauliflower dish out, cleaning the bowl. She straightened up, stretched her back, and pushed back against the sink, extending her legs behind her. Letting out a deep breath, she caught her reflection in the bright kitchen lights. While her face wasn't as flushed, her heart was still pounding. Suddenly, the emotions and feelings of the past few months rushed to the surface of her being. She burst into tears, and the tears turned into sobs that came from so deep inside. What was happening to her? It was just a kiss. But what a kiss! She'd never felt so treasured, so alive, so desired. It was just a kiss. So then, on the other side of town, we have Maisie, who has shown up, and she's Torquil's older sister, and she acts like she's still a teenager. Maisie has been sent by their parents for Torquil to straighten out. Maisie opened the window of the small guest bedroom that was in the attic of the house. Torquil said it was his home office. Its sole window was like a ship's porthole, round and large enough for her to put her head and shoulders through while she smoked. She knew she wasn't supposed to smoke in the house, and she just could not see herself sneaking down 2 flights of stairs out the kitchen to smoke. The interweaving clouds of breath and cigarette smoke snaked across the sky. The night air was crisp with just a hint of dirt and apples. Frost glinted between rows of orchard, and for some reason that made her feel warm and safe. Flicking the cigarette butt out the window, she twisted her body back into the room. Sighing, she surveyed her current prison. How had she ended up in a teenage darling's bedroom? A twin bed, swathed with a fluffy pink comforter, pillowcases and sheets with pink roses waited for her across the room. She hated pink. The color reminded her of fragile women and girls, and she had promised herself years ago that she would never feel frail or weak, whatever the cost. The silence of the pink room, the well-loved farmhouse, and the little town frightened her. She didn't like silence, didn't like to spend time reflecting, because she knew she'd eventually end up in her memories, her spiral of shame. Most of all, she was her parents' shame. Maisie was actually 2 years older than Torquil, who was the second to the youngest in their family of 5. From a teenager, Torque had been focused. He always knew he wanted to practice law. For her part, Maisie never knew what she actually wanted. She was the original whatever girl. Her life was ruined after a botched abortion in a Glasgow back alley tenement smelling of urine and boiled potatoes, each floor bursting with shrieking babies. What was supposed to have been a secret between her and Aaron, the 17-year-old boyfriend, became her family's disgrace. She had ended up with a severe infection. The consequences were infertility. She was unable to have children. She was barren. She would be forever childless. She was forever reminded of her guilt. As an adult, Maisie knew her 15-year-old self had made the best decision she could with what little information she had. She knew her boyfriend would never stick around, and she had known too many young girls living life as a single parent, both child and mother branded with shame and pity, and she couldn't bear that. Claustrophobia set in, and she shook her head, trying to shake away the nausea and the memories. She hated being alone. The room was driving her crazy. This house and the people in it, including her own brother, were too conservative for her. They were better educated. They knew what they wanted from life. All she ever wanted was attention, especially from men. Grateful to be thinking other thoughts, she wondered for a minute or two before setting out on the journey whether Cousin Lachlan would yield to her charms. Instead, he kept his distance throughout the long plane trip. Silently, he rented the car, then drove straight down here. He had not given a toss about her. He had definitely set his line in the sand. He only wanted to deliver her to Torquil. Her ma told him in no uncertain term what his duty was, and reluctantly he accepted it, mainly because no one said no to Auntie Caroline. Angrily, Maisie chewed a thumbnail. What did her parents think Torquil could do? What would a change of scenery in this shithole with only one bar and no place to dance and meet people, men, what was that going to do to change her mindset? She vowed she'd find that bar. She'd find someone to take her away from all this. She didn't want to grow up, settle down, become responsible, get a job, or go to school. She wanted to find somebody to take care of her because that's what she deserved. Beating herself about the head with her fists, she pled to some power outside of herself that she didn't believe in. Just get me out of here, please. So we have 2 women with different ideas of what it's like to be alone, and the choices they've made. And these are two excerpts from an upcoming book from Walkerville series, book 8. It's called Reflections. And so we are going to take the rest of the week off, and we'll be coming back on Monday, September the 6th at 11 o'clock. And in September, we're going to be live streaming on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So you'll remember that we started this, back around the 1st of August, and I was kind of pushing the envelope, pushing myself out of my comfort zone. And I've learned a lesson. It's like I can push the envelope, push myself out of my comfort zone, and I also have to, be good to myself. And what I've learned was 5 days a week is really a lot. Even if it's only for 15 minutes, it's still really a lot. It's a lot for me. It's a lot for AC. So we'll be doing this for September, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 p.m. And we're going to continue to, do, readings. You got a bit of a preview tonight from my new book. And I've got several, at least 2 other Walkerville books in the pipeline. I think there's going to be 10 or 11 altogether. There's a couple of Christmas novellas that I, hopefully will share with you. So I'm going to read to you, I'll read some of the books that I've that have already been published, and then I'll also read my books in progress. And then I wanted to also, I'm going to make this small because I want to make this big. I want to talk a little bit about my creative process, as we go along in the month of September. Talk about how AC and I, figure out what we're going to do for cover art. Renewal, this book has a water tower because that's, where Ruth lives, and Lorraine and Gordon eventually lived there. Songs, quotes, poems for books or characters, chapters. How do I meet my characters? What's a Bible? And for the 8th book, the one that I was just reading from, there's a song by the Dubliners, and it's called "I Wish I Had Someone to Love Me," and it's an old, Irish folk song. And in the book, Lachlan is making a phone call to Ginny, and he wants to ask her out on a date, and he's, not too sure of himself. So he ends up singing these 4 lines to her, which is, the beginning of, something big between the 2 of them. And so, I wish I had someone to love me, someone to call me her own, someone to sleep with me nightly. I'm weary of sleeping alone. And that, I heard that one night, and I thought about it later on as I was writing book 8, and I thought, that's what Lachlan's going to be singing to Ginny when he asks her out on the first date. And that's just the way my mind works, and I love it. So I want to thank you for joining me in the month of August. It's been swell. It's been fun. I've really pushed myself. I really learned a lot from myself. I want to thank AC for all of his hard, work and support. And I am looking for so let go, yeah, I'm looking for my last cheat sheet, and here it is. Okay, so bullets to close. Okay, so don't forget to click like on the bottom of this YouTube page if you like us. AC was telling me that we actually have like 4 followers. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm really grateful. You can find information in the area below about how to get in touch with me if you've got any questions or you want to give me feedback. I would just love hearing from you. Also, AC is archiving all of these live readings, and there's a link to the playlist below as well. And we'll be coming back Monday the 7th. Is it the 7th? 6th, September the 6th. Thank you. And so we'll spend the month of September playing. So thank you so much for joining, and keep in touch with me, you guys. Bye.
Clear.